Rupert's my band leader. He's someone who was very instrumental in getting my first recordings done. Demo tapes and stuff that I consider to be my first recordings, singles and whatnot. I met Rupert through a very important musician in Jamaica called Cat Core. Cat Core is the guitarist in a band called Third World. If you know Jamaican reggae music, you know that. So my father was a friend of Cat, and he got a demo tape to Cat for me. Me and my pops wasn't very close on most issues. I grew up without him around me. He was in prison, and so when he stepped out of prison and heard what I was doing, he was impressed, and he was like, whoa, let me take it to my friend who's in the music business. Took it to Cat. Cat introduced me to Rupert Bent. Rupert was like, yo, you sound amazing. Let's do some work. We did demos, we did stuff that we considered for 45s. And I worked with him for like a year and a half, doing these types of things when no one knew who I was. And I know quite a few people in the business in Jamaica who are like that. They're not really into the spotlight. They don't want to be the artist, but they are so talented. Rupert plays bass guitar, keyboards, electric guitar, acoustic. He's an excellent guitar player, and so his father plays jazz music guitar and has albums out and whatnot. He's a very talented Jamaican jazz musician. From the beginning, he just had an insight into my career in terms of he knew that something was going to happen big with me. He didn't care what it was he was doing. Just kept recording these demos. And then there came a point in time where I wanted to do things differently. And so I went to other studios. And we kind of didn't part ways, but we just went along our own path and came back together in the long run. I went recording different songs with different producers. I got a manager. Rupert was with me before I even had a manager. And so he was just someone who believed in the artist. And so I really appreciate him from that time. And so when it came around to where my career got bigger, and I went around promoting for years and putting out small singles, and then I got a small album out there, and then the second album really blew up, and I needed a backing band now instead of being just having a DJ, because it was such a big event. And also my album was called Dirty Rock, so it kind of suited the whole image to kind of look like, rock things, and Rupert was a perfect contender. At first I don't think he wanted to do it, because he had basically a long life on the road before with Third World and touring with the Wailers and these types of bands. He was at home trying to produce and do that now. I think that he kind of was just proud of me in the long run, and just was like, yo, this dude is really doing it. So he did come back around in terms of like, because we did ask him at first and he was like, nah, I can't do it. Then he came back around and said, yo, I'd love to work with you. I asked him to put the band together for me. And he got people who had played in bands all their life, but were also very talented musicians and could have been also studio musicians. He got the right engineer put together for me. So he actually helped my stage show in terms of that, the band production show that people see of me when if you even Google me or watch me on YouTube or whatever, or come to my concerts. A lot of it has to do with what Roops, I call him Roops, or sometimes we call him Rupen Dupel. Rupen Dupel really put a lot into the show in terms of how it looks, it was, and how, especially how it sounds. Being the band leader is something that basically he has to liaison with me a lot on what I like, what I don't like. When it comes to rehearsals, they usually do 2 hours before I get there. So he runs that session before I get there. He must make sure that by the time I get there, the band knows the song. As I get in there, if they're playing it, I feel like singing. That's how I like it. So he knows that about me, and that's an important thing for him to be the band leader and just have me hold me down that way. You know what I mean?
The one artist who stood for what he believed in and always told the truth in terms of music, in terms of, how I flow. I ain't gonna beat nobody in the head with no bullshit music, you know what I'm saying?
And I'm like, what? And so everybody's like tripping, everybody's like trying to clean up really quick because they didn't think he was showing up.
There's literally 6 to 7 to 8 girls filming me, recording me, sleeping. And I'm in boxers and I'm just sitting there and I'm just like this, like drooling everywhere.
Welcome to Costa Rica, Red Rat, I love you, and girls screaming and all that. And I'm like, hold up. I'm Jamaican Michael Jackson.